Okay, recently I pitched a theory in my last FNAF video, the top 10 scary FNAF theories that you've never heard. If you want to watch that, click up in the top right corner. And there were some questions that arose in the comments and some more information I found after going through this. The FNAF Survival Logbook. This has been a point of a lot of frustration for theorists for a while now, but today I aim to solve the mystery of how Michael Afton is both Foxy Bro and the Crying Child. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host Connor Monroe, and yes, I bought the security logbook on Amazon Prime specifically for this and future FNAF videos and went over every single inch of it with a black light, just in case. I was confident in my theory the last time I talked about it, but now I'm even more confident in it now that I've figured out what I have. It answers a lot of questions and it ties back to the original FNAF novels as well if you want to go in that direction. So, let's get into it. First, let's address the comments and questions about my theory that I saw in the comments of my video and on Instagram. Firstly, where is William and his wife's room? I used the evidence of there being no Mike's room as why he doesn't exist, because he doesn't need one. Well, I did actually mention this in the video, but there is a door located on the left side of the room with the television that I'll be calling the family room that is perpetually closed and you can't open it. Despite the door being connected to the family room, there is nothing really odd about it. William is a secretive man who would obviously need to keep his door closed and locked because, well, I'm guessing there's going to be some evidence of mass murder in there. And I've only ever seen doors leading to other rooms, never a door leading into a hallway. It doesn't lead up or downstairs because there would be no point in locking that door, and it wouldn't lead to a hallway because you shouldn't be locking that door if there are multiple rooms connected to it. How would either Michael or William get to their room if the door to the hallway was locked when they were outside the door? So that is 100% William's room, which we have no reason to see in the context of this game. Secondly, there is the matter of Midnight Motorist. The Midnight Motorist game features an Easter egg that has William Afton in the form of the Mustard Man or Yellow Guy walking to see Crying Child having escaped to Freddy's. This wouldn't be a problem, but we see Michael sitting on the couch watching TV, who says to not give the Crying Child a hard time because he's had a hard day. This totally blows my theory up, right? Well, my thing is, we've been seeing this entire series with the exception of a few games from Michael's perspective. He's the one going around dismantling animatronics, trying to set their souls free, and find his father after he gets trapped behind the wall. So, if we've been seeing this whole game from Mike's point of view, why not the flashbacks? That's what this is after all. Mike is the character we play as in Pizzeria Simulator hands down, no question. And while playtesting the game, he remembers a time when his father came back home. It's not like that flashback is literally a feature of the game. This is a flashback from Mike's point of view, so of course he would remember this with having a little brother because at this point William brought him back and altered his memory. Whether he did that through making him a robot or some other means is unclear, but the explanation for the memory containing both children is clear. This goes for the FNAF 4 minigames as well. We see until the Crying Child dies, but his brother is constantly there scaring him. He's always there. Finally, speaking of FNAF 4, let's talk about the nightmares. I saw someone bring up the point that in the actual gameplay, the house is different to what we see in the minigames. This is true, no arguments here, but you need to remember that while in the actual gameplay, Crying Child is in a coma. None of this is real. This is proven by the IV pill and flower pot Easter eggs that you can see sometimes next to your bed. Also, the fact that Nightmare Freddy straight up says that he is now given flesh to be your tormentor during Ultimate Custom Night. So in reality, nothing of what we play is real. And I don't know about you, but if I'm having a nightmare in a house, it's almost never an exact replica of where I'm living. It has the sense of home, like you are home, but the layout isn't the same. And having feelings and dreams is very true. Molly Burke, a popular blind YouTuber, says it's still possible to have dreams when you're blind, but instead of seeing, you just feel scared. You get the feeling of being scared without actually seeing anything. So, having feelings and dreams is true in the real world. Okay, now to the new information. YouTube user Inky Inc. commented on matpat's latest FNAF video about Foxy Bro, stating that the faded text is in reality talking to another spirit trapped inside the book. This would make sense given Matt's conclusion to Golden Freddy potentially having two souls trapped inside. Then they direct us to pages 89 and 901, where the other spirit is replying to questions or statements in the form of altering text in the book. The page is a shift review where you rate your stats on a scale of 1 to 10. The other night's having these as well, but instead of having the normal overall, fulfillment, health, stress, purpose, hope, and existential dread. We have health be replaced with I can hear sounds, and existential dread replaced with it was for me. And on page 109 it's the same thing, except this time fulfillment is replaced with I can't see, and purpose is replaced with I'm scared. This could be another spirit communicating, but in reality I think it's hallucinations. While yes, the changed text appears to be aligning with the things that we've seen the spirit ask in the past, like the party was for you and what did you see, the spirit continues saying these things after getting a response. On page 103, the page talks about who you'd like to invite to your party. The spirit once again says the party was for you, but earlier, on page 89, we saw the text say that it was for me. Why, if these spirits are communicating, would it still repeat the same question after seeing the crying child acknowledge it? I genuinely believe that even though these things seem to be in response, it's actually not even there. The book plays with the concept of memory by saying things like, was your favorite ride the carousel? Do any of these toys look familiar to you? And did one of these toys belong to you? And that's no mistake. It's trying to get you to remember. That's why it's asking what do you remember and do you remember your name? Even if we wrote it at the beginning of the logbook, it's trying to get Mike to remember something before all the madness, to explain why he has memories of what Nightmare Fredbear looks like. Why would the spirit be asking another dead children if he has dreams? Of course he wouldn't. He's dead. The crying child is dead. Unless he isn't. I have a feeling that these changes in text aren't another spirit communicating through the book, but rather hallucinations that Michael sees as he remembers his first attempt at life. Before, as he writes on page 99, a section about explaining unfortunate events, he tripped and fell on Freddy's teeth. Not our fault. As he sees 10 pages earlier, I can hear things. He can hear the employees making excuses about him getting bit. And as he sees 10 pages after, it's dark. I'm scared. As he remembers the feeling of nightmare coming for him. But don't worry, son. I will put you back together. The hallucination theory still has legs when you look at it scientifically. Common causes for hallucination are sleep deprivation and extreme stress, and both these hallucinations come at the end of a shift, at the end of night 4 and 5, which we know from playing are the most stressful and difficult nights. Plus, Michael gets to work extremely early. As we can see from the night 5 incident report, something happened at 8:11. Whether it be AM or PM, Michael is up for a lot longer than his 6-hour shift. But we can get even more specific. He said on page 6 that employees get free pizza, so in order to cash in on that prize, he would have to be there before the kitchen was closed. Which, as shown in the rules on both in-game posters and in the book, would be before dark, since the guests are told to leave before dark as well. So you would need to be there by at least 6 PM dinner rush in order to secure a slice and make sure that there was still some extra for him. After all, he never said that they only get free food while working. And if he was a night guard, he wouldn't really get free food while working because there'd be no pizza for him to have, because, you know, it's night. Kitchen's closed, there's no extra food. Now I know what you're thinking. Connor, we see at the beginning of the book that Mike had this book before us. Why would we be seeing his hallucinations? And I have an explanation for that too. We've seen this entire game through the eyes of Mike, like I said earlier, with the exception of FNAF VR, AR, Ultimate Custom Night, and 4 if you don't consider Crying Child to be Mike yet. This explains the reason we can see both of them in the flashback minigames and such. But if we've been experiencing this series through Mike's eyes this whole time, why would it stop now? This explains so much. It explains why people thought that there was a second spirit. It explains why the first spirit keeps talking even after the second one would have responded. It explains how Mike knows what Nightmare Freddy looks like. Crying Child was in a coma when he saw him, so he would have no way of describing him to Mike. It explains why he would remember the purple plastic telephone, why the carousel ride would be his favorite, when the pizzeria wouldn't have been open when he was young enough to fit on it, and why he knew instantly what someone would say if they got bit by Freddy. Hell, it could have been his father who even gave that excuse. It would explain why William wanted to put him back together. He saw something, and he knew that if his father caught him, he would suffer. Remember what will happen if he catches you. It's me. The crying child is me. There we have it, friends, my theory about the true identity of Michael Afton, the security logbook, and what Mike seems to be forgetting. Consider this me officially throwing my hat into the ring when it comes to the FNAF theory world. This is more in-depth than I've ever had to research for a theory, and I've made some back in the day. They were mostly about The Flash, and I've had a couple here and there about FNAF, but they weren't really substantial until today. If you enjoyed, be sure you share this video to matpat on Twitter, and hit like and subscribe if you love FNAF because we make daily gaming content, and for the past little bit, it's been a lot of FNAF I even have a special shirt for that. And we have a playlist of over 80 videos and 12 hours of content available for you up in the iCard. That's all the time we have for today's video, guys. I'm going to be in the comments for the next hour, ready to discuss theories with you on how we can make this even more solid. So, make those first count by starting a conversation down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. Unless William gets to me first.